Mike Arnold here, co-founder, Path Trading Partners, along with Bob Iacchino. So, Bitcoin Cash, nice move up through our initial levels and then the end of the multiple clear path levels. And again, these targets can not only be used if you want to take some profits and buy again on pullbacks, but also to trail and raise your stop. So when we say targets, they're not just for profits, they're for levels that we take action at, which may be taking something off the table, depending on the momentum of the breakout. This was a high-powered breakout. You see it got above the significant level we talked about, finally pulled back, essentially just paused for one bar, then another big momentum. Now it's pausing at our next significant level. It ran up, but it's having trouble also with this $500 mark. That is going to be very key. See, we got the concept now. This was an aggressive ad with the 8 pushing the price. You can see also on the 1 hour into the 1 hour rotation zone off this big momentum move. The next ad will be if we pull back more and do dip back down, then we'll be watching back to the 4 hour rotation zone and very key support. Support can come in again at any of these red lines, but major support is going to be right around this 424 level to about the 416. That's what we'll be watching for our next possible ad on a bigger pullback. So we can just clean up some of these prior levels a bit. And let's just check out the daily chart. Daily chart broke out from this key level. You can see our significant levels on the daily chart and where the next major levels are. We have, if we get above the 500, then we're watching our minor targets about 530, and then the next major target is 551, and then beyond that 580. So those are the key levels we'll be watching for on the next push higher. We are getting extended with this rapid breakout, so don't be surprised if we do have a slightly bigger pullback or pause for a bit before making the push higher, but we can't predict that, so we have to take our trading opportunities on rotations back up, and we can do the aggressive ad. Then if it does pull back again, we can do a more conservative ad and then keep our stops in place. Here is Bitcoin, US dollar on the daily chart. You can see this is also turned higher, invalidating the potential head and shoulders. So we don't need to worry about that anymore. It never came close to triggering, and now it's rotated back up again, slight dip into the rotation zone, moving back to some key levels. Let's zoom in on the 4 hour chart. All right, we redrew our trend line. We finally got the move back above the trend line, pull back to first cross rotation zone, then the ignition move up. Reacting right now, it already reacted a bit ago at the 6,000, and then the new defining point about 6,020. As a reminder, our next level is up 6101, so the 6100, that's just where the GAN projection fell. And then 6183. We can also look to see how off this last push, we don't have a lot of a pullback yet, but we can do a reverse GAN box just to see where that falls. So 6101 to 6116 is going to be a key overlapping area that we're going to be watching for. Then 6150, end of the clear path move from this last correction. So that can again be a stop, raising up a stop on this ad, and then we'll be watching for the 6200 level, 6199, the last major swing high, and back through there 6335 to 6471 are the next major levels higher on Bitcoin to watch out for, or take partial profits and then add on pullbacks to the rotation zone. Okay, over to Ethereum US dollar 4 hour chart. You can see we did get a close, broke down the horizontal channel, hitting the first target. Again, this was just areas to look for buying opportunities, so that is completed. Then it moved back up strongly, triggering it to the upside, pretty much closing on the full upside target, that 306, then pushing higher to the 309.50 area, which was the end of the clear path, now pulling back from that level. We're going to be watching for a pullback. The initial level we'll be watching for is about the 304.50 area, which is a flat 200, and then wait for the rising rotation zone. The aggressive entry would be to look at the 1 hour. It had this big pullback, but there's nothing to do on that. A more sensible pullback into the rotation zone and a rotation back up is what we'll be watching for Ethereum US dollar. You know, once it gets into this rotation zone, then a move back above this trend line, there might be a redraw on that trend line, so that could change. Now, once we get a rotation back up, again, we'll be watching for, if it does pull back further, a retest this 309.50 area, end of the clear path. Then above that, the next major area is a 313.42. Then we have a whole cluster between 315 and 316. So that will be a key area we're watching. Then 318.46 and the major breakdown level, which will be a very good target level, 321. So that's what we have in Ethereum. Just zooming out to the daily chart to check in. Don't have a first cross rotation zone yet, so we're still being somewhat conservative until this pulls up, and there is some overhead resistance this is running into, but this is a very nice clear path move. So if we can get a close above this high, there's a trend line here, above this defining point, 311.85, that will trigger a trend line trade with a full eventually target of about 340. That's what we're watching for in Ethereum US dollar. And that's what we have for you on this Sunday update for Bitcoin Cash, Bitcoin, and Ethereum. Thanks for tuning in.